Hello, everyone, and good morning. My name is Michael Fortin. I am the Director of Promotion for the Maine Tax Portal here at Maine Revenue Services, and I am joined by our panelist, Lisa Grayton, Deputy Director of the Income and Estate Tax Division. And it's my pleasure to be your MC for our Real Estate Controlling Interest webinar for Registry employees, providing an overview of the new Maine Tax Portal that will become available on October 15th, 2024, which marks our fourth and final rollout of the Maine Tax Portal. The portal is now open for individuals and most Maine businesses to file and pay taxes, view notices, and much more. And you can visit our Maine Tax Portal information page at the following address. I'll give you this web address a couple of times. It's maine.gov/revenue/portal. One more time, it's maine.gov/revenue/portal. This page will give you lots of information about the Maine Tax Portal. We will be discussing this in greater detail later this morning. Before Lisa gets started with her presentation, I have a few housekeeping items to review with everyone. First, the raise hand button at the bottom of your Zoom screen will not be used for today's session, although you'll have many opportunities to ask questions. Attendees can ask questions by typing them into the Q&A area at the bottom of your screen. And Lisa will answer as many questions as she can live, but if we're unable to address all your questions during this webinar, then we will follow up via email and happy to assist you in any way that we can. There may be times when you'd like Lisa to repeat a step that you've missed, or perhaps you're simply unable to watch the entire session today. Therefore, it would be helpful to know that today's webinar is being recorded, can be viewed by anyone who's registered. There are no documents or presentation materials that you'll need for today's webinar. Feel free to take notes, but know you can always rewatch the recorded material anytime you'd like to review it. Finally, we should be reminded there can be unexpected technical challenges that Lisa is speaking to you live. Therefore, we do appreciate your understanding and ask for your patience if we should experience any technical difficulties. That concludes all of our housekeeping items, but one last point is that we, along with Lisa, we have a team of people helping with the demonstration of the Maine Tax Portal. We have Heather, Rachel, Lisa, a different Lisa, and Sam today, all helping with the demonstration. So we'd like to thank them for their assistance. Lisa, we're ready to get started.
Thank you, Michael. Hello, and thank you for everyone who's attending our presentation today. We're very excited to demonstrate the transfer tax declaration process using our new online application, the Maine Tax Portal. Today's session will focus on the registry side of the process. We have already concluded training sessions focused on the originator side of the process, and we'll hold future training sessions on the municipality side of the process. So we will cover 6 topics during today's presentation. Discuss the transition timeline from the current online transfer tax filing system to the new Maine Tax Portal system. We'll demonstrate how a registry official would create a primary Maine Tax Portal username and how they will authorize other personnel to create secondary logons, allowing access to review electronic transfer tax declarations. We'll also demonstrate how to accept a real estate transfer tax declaration using the Maine Tax Portal. And fourth, we'll demonstrate how to reject a real estate transfer tax declaration using the Maine Tax Portal. We'll also demonstrate how to search and view prior submissions. And lastly, we'll demonstrate how a registry official would remit a monthly transfer tax payment to Maine Revenue Services using the Maine Tax Portal. As you can see, we do have a lot to discuss and demonstrate today. So please add your questions to the Q&A portion at any time, and we will respond to you. Also, please know that if you miss the transition dates or a section of the presentation, you can rewatch the recorded session as many times as needed once you receive the recording link in your email tomorrow. All right, let's get started. The current online transfer tax filing system is displayed on your screen now, along with a message about the transition timeline in the yellow portion of the screen. I'll summarize the applicable message for you now. An originator may use this current online system to submit or correct a transfer tax declaration through 5 p.m. on Friday, October 4th, which is tomorrow. An originator may still provide transfer tax declarations directly to the Registry of Deeds office through close of business of registry offices on Friday, October 11th. Registry officials will still have access to the current online system through 5 p.m. on Thursday, October 10th, providing registries with the additional time to accept and record declarations that were previously submitted by an originator. Any in-progress declarations that are not accepted by a registry office by 5 p.m. on Thursday, October 10th will not be transferred to the new main tax portal system, so we have asked originators to plan accordingly. A new main tax portal submission or a paper submission would be required in that circumstance. Both originators and registry officials may begin using the main tax portal on Tuesday, October 15th. Please note that Monday, October 14th is a federal and state holiday. The transition message also mentions that any existing InforMe account usernames will not be transferred to the main tax portal. So let's navigate over to the portal now, and we'll demonstrate the steps you will take on October 15th to create a new username. So you can access the main tax portal in two different ways. Directly from the MRS website at main.gov/revenue and locate the Electronic Services drop-down menu, or on the same MRS website using the green Main Tax Portal square. Once we are on the portal, we notice an area in the upper right side of the screen where we can log in with a username and a password. We will use this once we've created our username. We also see a link to create a username in that same area of the screen. Each registrar of deeds will need to create their own username for their county, allowing themselves to become primary access to review electronic transfer tax declarations submitted by originators on the main tax portal. That registrar will then perform an additional task to manage secondary logons, which will authorize other registry personnel to create their own logins and allow the correct access to view all in-progress transfer tax declarations for that county. MRS does not recommend password sharing, so we will demonstrate how to take both of these steps now. And I would like to also pause to emphasize, if you are attempting to follow along on the tax portal website today, you will not have access to the links or the actions we are demonstrating today. That will go live on October 15th. So we're just providing you with a sneak peek from our testing environment today. Okay, so we are going to click Create a Username now. And we are prompted to select a reason for creating the username. And we choose municipality or county or registry, since we are a county registry of deeds, and we select Next. The screen alerts us that we need to have the registry's Federal Employer Identification Number, or EIN, and a letter ID from MRS to proceed. The registry EIN is most likely the EIN for the county. The registry ID will be located on a main tax portal invitation letter that will be mailed to each registry as we switch to the new system on October 15th. We also are intending to email to the applicable registrars a copy of this letter so that you can create your tax portal account very early on October 15th and feel ready to participate in this. So for our demonstration, we do have both pieces of information handy today. So we're going to select Next to continue. And we're choosing the ID type of Federal Employer ID, and we'll enter a fictitious EIN. And we'll choose the account type of real estate transfer. Then we proceed to the next screen. We're asked to input a piece of information that allows MRS to verify that we are in fact the authorized taxpayer for purposes of creating our portal username. We do see a grayed out selection, which is not a viable option for the real estate transfer tax account we chose. So we're going to move to the second choice and check that we do have our letter ID and letter date, and then we'll select next. So we want to provide you with an example of what that letter, that invitation letter will look like. So in a moment, it will appear on your screen. There we are. So we can locate the letter ID and the letter date in the upper right-hand corner of the letter. So we see that information, and we'll go back to the main tax portal screen and we will input that information. So we'll start with our letter ID and then the letter date. And then we'll select next. We now input the chosen username for our registrar, as well as the first and last name of this fictitious registry official who's creating the account today. And then we'll input Waldo Smith's email address twice for confirmation. So please note we're using the property tax email address and telephone number throughout today's presentation. That's for your convenience in case you need to make a note of it. We're going to choose no for paperless mail delivery. And next we must create our password. There is an information link that exists here that alerts you of MRS password requirements. We are familiar with that, so we'll just go ahead and input our password twice for confirmation. And we'll also choose a secret question from the list and provide an answer. And lastly, we will enter Waldo's telephone number. And please note that phone type defaults to cell phone, but you can change it to whatever you desire. And we take one last moment, we'll review the screen. Everything appears to be correct. So we'll just select next to move on. A summary of our registration information displays. And again, if there were an error, we could use the previous button at the bottom of the screen to step back and correct anything. But we are satisfied with this, so we select submit. And we're prompted to input Waldo's valid email address once again, twice again actually, to confirm. And this acts as a signature and confirmation that we truly intend to create this registry username. And we can click OK. And then we're provided a confirmation message for our submission. Okay, so now we've created Waldo's username. We're going to go back to the portal main screen and we're going to log in, and then we'll create our secondary logons for other registry personnel. So we'll input the username and password that we just created. Since this is our first login, we are prompted to set up the two-step verification method that best suits our needs. We prefer to receive emails containing our security code, so we choose the Add Email link in the email panel, and we'll input our property tax email here. That's just for your convenience. Please, of course, use yours. Then we'll hit Save. In a non-testing environment, we would be provided with an email and a security code, which we would input on the screen here. In our testing environment, we're going to use this populate link to simulate that security code, and then we choose confirm. We could also choose to set up another verification method, but today we're just going to add email. So we'll hit confirm again to confirm our choice. So please note that all users will be asked to set up that two-step verification method once, but will be required to input the new code generated each time they log in. So to recap, we've just completed the setup of the primary registrar's login. So we'll now show you the process of how that registrar will authorize secondary logins for other personnel. So MRS does advise that the registrar take that step at the initial login to avoid losing any personnel functionality in timely review of in-progress transfer tax declarations. So from here, we will navigate over to the Manage My Profile link located under the moose in the upper right corner of your screen. We'll click the Manage My Profile, and that displays other actions a registrar could take. We'll click the More tab. We see additional options to manage access, and we locate the panel titled My Users, and we see a link for Manage Secondary Logons. Let's click on that now. In the secondary logon screen, we choose the Add link to begin adding our authorized user information. This screen does require input of the secondary user's intended username, so we suggest coordination with that user beforehand to determine what they prefer their username to be. Or perhaps there's already an established username within your office for access to other programs and you wish to just use that for them. So we'll leave that username creation up to your own internal office procedures and discretion. Today, we're going to enter a username of W. Jean, along with her full name of Wilma Jean. And we'll also enter Wilma's email address twice for confirmation. Please note that you'll also need to use the appropriate email for your user. So in Wilma's situation, she would receive an email after you've granted this access, which allows her to continue creating her username. So it's very important that she receives the email and the link to do so. So lastly, on the screen, we need to choose the type of access for Wilma, and we're going to use the drop-down menu to choose the term user. And then we'll select next to continue. Okay, we're now on a very busy screen. So I'd like to simplify for you and remind you what we're trying to accomplish with this user setup. So we are trying to allow our secondary user, Wilma, to have access to the same real estate transfer account that we just set up for our registrar, Waldo. So to accomplish this, we're going to go to the far right side of your screen and we'll choose Select None to deselect all of the account types that were previously checked. We then are going to use the filter bar to type the word real into. We'll type that and hit enter, and it will filter for just 2 accounts. And then we're going to check mark the box for real estate transfer. And then we will select submit. So we see a pop-up here, a message displaying that Wilma is going to receive an email with further instructions. We'll click OK to dismiss that message. And then if we click on that small link labeled secondary logons on the upper left-hand side, we'll go back to the original secondary logon page. We would just repeat the steps we took by utilizing that add link if there were other users that we needed to add. So you can just do that all at the same time for all secondary users. Today, we're just going to add 1. So we have completed that. And now we'll transition over to the 3rd and 4th portions of our demonstration today, which is how to accept and how to reject a RET declaration. So we're going to log in to another existing portal account for the Kennebec Registry of Deeds. So Heather's doing that for us right now. And we'll input their security code. Okay, so now we're logged in for our fictitious Kennebec County account. We can see that we have the real estate transfer account as well as some links for actions we could take. Let's click on the View RET Declarations link. We can see a table listing in progress RET declarations now appears. There are multiple options for how a registry official could view this RET table information, depending on how the work needs to be completed within your office. Perhaps you are looking for a particular property address. You could sort by clicking on the cell labeled property address. Or perhaps you're looking for a specific seller, so you could click on the cell labeled seller name to sort it that way. So for today's demonstration, we are going to review the RET for seller John Boy. So we locate the correct row for John Boy and we click on the DLN link. And now we can scroll through the electronic submission to view and verify the information. And you would do this according to your own internal registry procedures, knowing which pieces of information you need to verify with the deed or other documentation you've been provided. If the information on the transfer tax declaration looks correct, you may click the Accept toggle at the bottom of the screen and then select Next to continue. The registry is now provided the opportunity to enter the recording information and transfer tax amount collected. So we'll use the calendar icon to input today's date, and we'll see that the time defaults to 12 o'clock. We'll go back to that portion of the time and we'll set the precise time. For this example, we'll say it was 10:05 and we'll next designate that it is AM. Lastly, we'll input the document locator number, the book page, and the tax amount collected. We'll select Next to continue. The registry official is provided one last opportunity to review the information, with that registry recording information appearing at the top of the screen this time. If you find a registry recording error that requires correction, use the previous button at the bottom of the screen to step back and make any corrections. In our case, everything appears correct, so we will select the Submit button. A confirmation screen displays the confirmation number for the acceptance. This registry accepted transfer tax declaration is now transmitted to MRS for final review. If the registry wishes to print a copy of the PDF version of the RET, they can click on Printable View. And we can see a PDF view on our screen now with a testing watermark from our testing environment. That will not be present on your version once we are live. Additionally, we can see a note at the top which states that this information has not been verified. As mentioned, verification is the last step that MRS will take. Let's close out this window and we'll go back to the confirmation screen, and then we'll click OK. So for a demonstration on how we could reject a declaration, we'll go back to that in progress RET declaration list by clicking View RET Declarations. Earlier, the registry office received a phone call from an originator letting them know the originator had input an incorrect property address of 10 Main Street and that they need the document rejected so they can correct it. So we'll locate the correct row for 10 Main Street and we'll click that DLN link. And we'll just scroll right to the bottom of the screen without reviewing, since we know we have to reject this. And we'll click that Reject toggle and select Next. We're now asked to select a reason from a specified drop-down list. We'll select Error per Submitter, and an optional text box allows for more details. We'll enter incorrect property address here. And then we'll select Submit. We receive a confirmation message for each action that we take. Let's click OK on that one. So that rejected RET declaration is now being transferred back to the originator, so they'll have that appear on their list. I'd like to recap for a moment here. So we've just demonstrated how to accept a RET and how to reject a RET declaration. And while we've concentrated today's presentation on the most widely used transfer tax form, we can point out separate links for the foreclosure transfer tax and controlling interest transfer tax declarations too. Registry officials would repeat the same actions we took on the RET for any foreclosure or controlling interest submission. to review the documents for acceptance or rejection. In the interest of time, we will not specifically demonstrate those two declarations today. Now we'll transition to the fifth item on our agenda, which is how to search and view prior submissions. Perhaps there's a circumstance where a registry official would like to go back to view a submission they had worked previously. To do this, you would choose the Declaration Search link. The search allows the input of optional criteria. For instance, you may input the document locator number or DLN directly. Let's input the DLN of 55052 and click the search button. We see the item display in the results table at the bottom. Let's click on the DLN number to view this submission. And we can scroll through to view the information. All right, let's close that window. And let's look at another link. There's a print link on the far right side of that result. Let's click on that now. A PDF of the RET declaration appears, and we could choose to print it from here. Let's close this out. We'll go back to that search screen by, we'll clear that DLN, and we'll take a look at a couple other search criteria. So if we click in the municipality field, a drop-down list appears. Please note that we're logged in as Kennebec County, so the list contains Kennebec County municipalities, pardon me. We also can see other parameters allowing searches by a specific book and page, by grantee or grantor, by price range, or by transfer dates. One important takeaway is that a registry may not edit a processed or submitted document. If a registry finds itself in a position where the recording information requires an update due to incorrect an input error, please contact the Property Tax Division directly at 207-624-5600. MRS can edit the information. Let's return to the main summary screen now. So lastly, we are transitioning to the remaining item on today's agenda, how to remit a monthly payment to MRS. Registry offices remit 90% of the transfer tax collected to MRS on a monthly basis. Previously, this was done by mailing a paper remittance form and a check to MRS. We will still honor a paper remittance of these funds, and we want to inform you of a new standardized form for use after October 15th. The revised form appears on your screen now. Please notice that it is a uniform fillable PDF document and still captures the registrar name, county, period of remittance, and the amount collected for each category of transfer tax. It has a new barcode located at the top of the document, which allows our scanning equipment to read and input the data into our modernized computer system easily. If you do choose to continue remitting by paper, the information should be typed into the new monthly form. The document would then be printed, and the registrar would sign and date at the bottom before mailing the form and payment to MRS. The revised form will be located on the Property Tax Division section of the MRS website by October 15th. We greatly appreciate your use of the new version of this monthly form, allowing MRS to achieve standardization and automation for this process. Okay, so now we've discussed the new old way to remit payment. Let's look at a more convenient electronic method to remit these funds using the portal. We are confident you will embrace this method once you've tried it. So we can see a link titled Submit Real Estate Transfer Tax Payment. Once we click on this, we are asked to input the period we are remitting for, otherwise known as the filing period. So let's remit for the period of August 2024, and then we'll select Next to proceed. For today, we will input values into each of the transfer tax types that are collected. So we'll input $10,000, $5,000, and $1,000. Please notice that the summation of the total as well as the calculation of the 10% was done automatically to reach the subtotal of the amount to remit to MRS. This remittance total is the amount we expected, so we'll continue on to the next screen. Now we're prompted to enter our payment information. So we'll input our fictitious routing number and our account number twice. And lastly, we will designate the account type as checking. A handy feature is next, and what we think you will really enjoy about this process. You can choose to save this payment method as a channel for future use. Making this choice ensures that you only have to enter the payment routing and account information once, but can easily use it for each future remittance. Also, this saves time waiting for a check to be cut. So we'll choose yes to save our payment channel today. And a name line now appears below representing the financial institution and the account number that you would input. So we can click that name field and we can edit the name to call it something that's more meaningful to us. So something like transfer tax payment account. Now we'll move to the right side of the screen where we'll input the confirmation of $14,400, and then we'll select next to proceed. We see a summary of our payment transaction displaying for one last review. Everything is correct, so we'll proceed to the next screen. We reach the declaration point where the registry official submitting this transfer tax payment would check the box to declare that the information in the submission is true and correct to the best of their knowledge. And they'll also input the name of the person who's completing the declaration twice for confirmation. And then we select Submit to transmit the payment to MRS. A confirmation screen displays the confirmation number, who submitted it, the type of submission request, as well as the amount paid. You may also click on printable view to print a receipt. MRS does recommend that you save this receipt information for your records. That concludes today's transfer tax presentation as it pertains to registry officials. I'll toss it back to Mike now for some important closing announcements. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. And we'd like to invite our audience to send in any questions you may have in the Q&A area. We'll give you a few minutes to do that before we close out today's webinar. But while we're waiting for those questions to come in, we want to take this opportunity to look at the main tax portal information page, which contains a wealth of information that will help answer all your questions about the portal and provide some resources for you. Right now on your screen, we're looking at the Maine Revenue Services homepage. The address is maine.gov/revenue. And we're going to scroll the page down, and you'll see the heading there. It says important updates, and underneath that, the second link down, it says important information about the Maine tax portal. We're going to click that. And that will bring us right to the main tax portal information page itself. If you'd like to bypass the home page and come directly here, you can type it in to your web browser using that address that I gave you at the beginning of today's session. It's maine.gov/revenue/portal. And that brings us to what we see here. So let's take a look. We're going to scroll the page down a bit, and we'll see there's a video there. If you have not seen the video, if you're new to the portal, it's a great place to start. It provides a general overview of the main tax portal. And just beneath that, you'll see 4 boxes, rollouts 1, 2, 3, and 4. So those are the different rollouts or different phases of the main tax portal that we've implemented each fall. And you can see coming up on rollout 4, and that will be the final rollout. As we hover over the box, we'll see all of the tax types that are being introduced in this final rollout. So if you would like to look at this in more detail or see which taxes were introduced at different points in time, feel free to visit the site and take a look at that. And then beneath the rollout boxes, we have some blue buttons there. The first is the main tax portal login button. So it provides a quick and easy way to jump from this page over to the portal itself to perform any logged in or non-logged in activities. The second button, the FAQs, we will click that just to take a peek at it. The FAQs are questions that were sent in from webinar attendees like yourself, and we have organized them and put the questions and the answers in a format that's where it's easy to find, grouped by subject matter. And if you have a question about the portal, there's a good chance it may be on this list someplace. So it is just a great resource, a library, if you will, about all the different things that the portal can do, and really a great place to refer to. So we're going to click back now. And the next button is instructional videos. We'll click that also just to take a look at it. These are short videos that demonstrate various functions and features of the main tax portal. They are available 24 hours a day. So if you're using the portal, if it's a new area that you're not familiar with and you'd like a little instruction on it, this is a great place to go also. We'll click back. And then the remaining buttons there for those it would apply to payroll service providers, and then information for tax professionals. If there are any tax professionals in the audience, or if you work with one, there's resources there to help those professionals with their clients transitioning to the main tax portal. And then at the bottom of the page in the olive green colored section is all the information pertaining to webinars. So like today, if you would like to sign up for additional sessions, we do have topics that are still yet to come. And if you've attended a session but would just simply like to repeat it, you're welcome to do that. Please do take advantage of those. You can sign up by clicking that first button. The second button is where you can get access to prior recordings. We have been running webinars every fall in spring in concert with each rollout of the main tax portal. And there's a variety of topics there. So if you'd like to look at one of the older webinars for a prior rollout, for example, for sales tax or any other tax type being introduced, you'll find them there. So take advantage of that. We will be posting videos from our fall 24 sessions there. Once each segment has completed, they will get posted there as well. But those of you who are in attendance today do not need to wait for the video to be posted on the website. You will get a link in your inbox tomorrow for today's session, so you can begin watching that right away if you'd like. And then our contact information is listed there. That is right underneath the rollout boxes. You'll see the email address and phone number for our taxpayer contact center. So if you have questions about the main tax portal itself, like mainly questions like, your username or password, you're having trouble getting in, they have a team there dedicated to help with those kinds of questions. So there's an email address, taxpayerassist@maine.gov. I'll read that to you again in case you want to write it down. It's taxpayerassist@maine.gov. And their telephone number is 207-624-9784. One more time, 207-624-9784. If you have questions that are direct questions specific to property tax, the best place to contact would be the Property Tax Division directly, and they have a phone number and an email as well. Their contact information is not listed on this page, but I will give it to you so you have it in case you want to write that down. Their telephone number is 207-624-5600. Once again, Property Tax Division, 207-624-5600. And their email address is prop.tax@maine.gov. Again, that's prop.tax@maine.gov. Okay, Thank you very much for your attention in that area. It looks like we have all of the questions addressed. I don't see any remaining questions in the Q&A. So we're going to begin closing out today's session. Before we do that, we do want to thank our presenters. Lisa does a great job, and we appreciate all the information. And also to her team, Lisa, Heather, Sam, and Rachel for the behind-the-scenes work in presenting this demonstration to you. And we also want to thank each and every one of you, our attendees, for joining us today, taking time out of your morning to learn about the Maine tax portal. We appreciate that. As a reminder, we have recorded today's session, and you will get a link in your inbox tomorrow where you can go to the Zoom website and watch the recording. If anything, we should recap these important points: that the Maine tax portal is now open for individuals and most Maine businesses to file and pay taxes, view notices, and so much more. And specifically for real estate controlling interest, for registry employees, that will go live on October 15th, 2024. So coming right up, we're very excited about that. You can visit the Maine tax portal information page, which is the web address I gave you several times today. It's that maine.gov/revenue/portal, and access all of the resources that we reviewed, the FAQs and the instructional videos. And if anybody has specific questions for the Property Tax Division, their telephone number is 207-624-5600. Their email address is prop.tax@maine.gov. And for those questions specific to the Maine tax portal, like username and password type questions, the Taxpayer Contact Center is ready to assist you, and their phone number is 207-624-9784. And their email address, taxpayerassist@maine.gov. So we're going to close out today's webinar. We thank you so much for joining us, and we wish you a great rest of your day.